понимаю.
There was a video on the blog. The video. Did you see this? Did you see the video?
No.
Okay. Let's see. The other Sergey. Sergey, and I'm confused which one is which. Oh yes, Sergey Galida.
Yeah.
Did you watch the video? Okay, you were able to watch the video. And Svetlana, did you also watch the video?
I have time to watch the video, and I don't can roll the comments.
That's fine. Sergey Galida and Svetlana, could you explain a little bit for Sergey Khvatalov what happened in the video?
Nothing interesting.
Nothing interesting? Let me bring up my question. So look at, does everyone see the question? Maybe, so Sergey Khvatalov, there was a video, and if you can, maybe you could ask Sergey Galida and Svetlana some questions to find out about the video. So maybe please ask questions to find out what happened in the video.
I can begin the story.
Sure. Yes, Svetlana, if you'd like to volunteer some information.
This video about problem one metal family. In the first scene of the video, we can see all family in the school where a little boy who presents about family.
Okay. No, wait, hold on. That's good. Sergey, do you have questions? Did you understand? Sergey Khvatalov, did you understand what Svetlana said?
Что рассказала Светлана?
Did you understand?
This video.
So you did watch the video, yes? No?
No.
No? Okay. Did you understand what Svetlana said? Understand what Svetlana said?
Sergey, try to begin. Try to give up your sentence. Like Svetlana said, something about the video, right? We watched the video. Some of you watched the video. And Svetlana started to talk about what happened in this video, right? And also, Sergey, have a look at this Yelena, what Yelena posted in the blog. Can you see it? The first scene takes place in the school, right? Видно вам, да, Сергей? Ага. Там можно больше сделать шрифт внизу. Листик добавить, и будет больше шрифт. Maybe you can read the first paragraph. Could you please? The first scene takes place. Can you see it? Can you start reading, please? Сергей? Сергей, хватало?
Тяжело.
Ну, да, тяжеловато, конечно. Okay, maybe Lena, could you please read your first paragraph in the blog? The first scene, what you wrote in the blog. Can you start reading it?
Can you читать?
Yes.
The first scene takes place in the school. Family members come to see how Michael, the son's grandson nephew, will read his essay. The youth members of the family was the shock when Michael read about family were all mad and age of hair and short. They thought that a story about them.
Very good.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Were you able to follow what Елена was reading? Получалось следить, да? Окей, хорошо.
Okay. And Sergey Galida, can you continue to tell about what happened? What does the family do when Michael reads his story?
Sorry, I'm not...
Okay. That's okay. You couldn't tell what they were doing?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You do what? I didn't understand.
Ну,
нужно кое-что срочно сделать.
Okay, so you have to finish some. Okay, no problem.
But sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Svetlana, can you answer the question? What did the family do when Michael read his story? So what were their reactions? What were their reactions?
The all members of family was confused by the name of his son.
Yes.
The name is Angry Family.
Yes, the angry family. Mm-hmm.
And
yes. Sergei Khatalov, do you understand angry? The angry family? I'm sorry? Louder, please?
Пожалуйста, Сергей, пожалуйста, плохо слышно вас.
Потому что нет, кто-то вообще не понимает, что говорит.
Но нам надо сделать так, чтобы вы поняли, да, надо... So, there is a video, right? Сергей, видеофильм.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a comedy. And it's about a family. Okay. And it's about a kind of a conflict inside the family. And the conflict happened because one of the members of the family, a son, little son, he wrote a book. And the book was about his family. Okay? Understand?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And the book has the title, название. And the title is The Angry Family. So he called his family the Angry Family. Sergey, what is angry? You understand the word angry?
Angry. Angry family.
Angry family, yes, angry. So, you understand the word happy family? Happy. You know the word happy?
Сливы.
Yes. It's something opposite. Angry is like yes, thank you, Andy. Angry, yes.
Несчастная семья.
Yes, this is сердитая, злая. Yeah. Okay, good.
Angry family. Yes.
So the whole idea of this episode is the conflict of expectations. Expectations, ожидания. Because the parents, the father and the mother, they expected that their son thinks that their family is happy. Like all of us, right, maybe? We all think that our children think that we are the happy family, right? But we don't know maybe the truth. We don't know about the real feelings. We don't know how we look for the outsider. Для сторонних глаз мы не знаем, да, как выглядим. So, and the son, in this episode, he thinks that his parents are not happy. They're angry. So, and that's I think the basis of the humorous situations in this episode. That's why there was so much laughter. And Elena didn't like the laughter. Elena thinks it's not so funny. Yeah.
This problem very important for people.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And that's what you meant by the problem is too serious. Yes?
Yes.
It is too true to be, or too serious to be funny. Yes. That's what I thought that you meant. Go ahead.
Lena, is that what you meant? It's true?
Oh, sorry. It's too true. Too true. Or too serious.
Problem слишком
Too.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Вот error. Где ошибка?
You could say also, I think the problem is too serious.
Yeah, that's fine. Это часть абсолютно нормально. Просто вот это последнее, да, эффектив непонятно.
I think the problem is too serious.
Проблема со словом текста, она как-то, я вот из него не знаю, наверное.
A very common expression is, it's not a laughing matter. It's too serious to laugh at.
Да, it's too serious to laugh at, да? Слишком серьезно, чтобы над ней смеяться, да, как бы вот так. Вот это вот to laugh at нужно вместо effective, наверное, поставить, тогда будет нормально, тогда будет понятно.
Yes.
Well, well, what about Svetlana? Svetlana, what do you think?
I don't know. I think this video they make grotesque and that в этом видео kind it's funny, but if to think about problem, what a problem in that side, it's not funny. It's very sad.
Yeah. And Lena mentioned that I'm wondering if Eddie understood the last sentence, because I understand it, because it's a very famous Russian kind of a saying, yeah. In Russia, people say it would be funny if it were not so sad.
Say that in English too. And that was an excellent. I wondered. I was curious how Yelena found such a perfect expression, because that's exactly how we would say it in English.
Yeah. Как по-русски? Все это было бы смешно, когда бы не было так грустно, да? Ага. Откуда это выражение, не помните? Какой-то, может быть, это из литературы, Елена, нет? from Russian readers.
Нет, по-моему, это просто фразеологизм. I think it's in classic literature because it's very lyric.
Yes.
Musical.
Yes, very lyrical or musical.
Yeah. And I think it also sounds in Russian a little bit outdated. Когда бы не было так грустно. Because the word когда we don't use today. We say like если бы, да? But maybe in the 19th century it was common to say the word когда instead of the word если. Right?
Yeah. I'm sure it is an old expression in English also, but the words, or at least, well, I don't know, I mean, if it's old or not, but I'm sure it's not new, but the words are all contemporary. They're not archaic words. The words used in the English expression are contemporary.
Okay. There is another interesting observation that Elena made. It's a family counselor, right? That, in Russia there is no practice to discuss family problems with a school counselor or pastor. This is a purely an American reality. That's a very good observation, very interesting. Maybe, Lena, could you please comment on it? Like, if there is a problem in the family, with whom do Russian parents or children discuss problems? With whom? Кем? Who?
This question?
Yeah. You say that children suffer from the parents' strife, like parents' arguments. And in America, the children go to a school counselor or a pastor, right? And the parents consult some counselors or maybe priests. And what happens in Russia in such situations?
In Russia, discuss in family.
Yeah. So the conflicts in parties, they discuss it with each other, right? Yeah, so like, there is a conflict between, like, for example, children and parents, and they discuss it between each other, right? Okay, good. Is there anybody else they can discuss the problem with? Maybe friends, right? Maybe they discuss with friends, neighbors, соседи, neighbors.
Maybe, so Yeletz, for example, maybe you and your husband have a conflict. When you say, go ahead.
I'm having this problem because I live
separated from my husband. I'm separated
from my parents and parents-in-law. This conflict
does not affect me.
affecting
It's not effective.
If family live close to this family parents.
Yes. Because you live separate from family, yes? Okay. But hypothetically, let's take your daughter, for example. If you and your daughter, I'm not saying you have a conflict, but if you have a conflict, who would you discuss with?
My daughter lives in Waza town,
Yes.
in Waza city.
Yes.
And I look, she very
Seldom. Very seldom.
Very seldom. Very seldom.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, maybe Sergei Galaida or Sergei Khvatalov or Svetlana could help me. If you have a conflict in the family, this is a problem with the word family in English. If you have a conflict with your daughter or your son or your wife, do you discuss the problem with them or do you discuss it with other people in the family? I think that's the question. So if you have a conflict with your son, daughter, wife, etc., do you discuss the conflict with them or with other family members?
If I have conflict in my
Yes.
family, we decide the problem in the family.
Yes.
Because we are modern progressive people, and when a problem was discussed, it may be decide, have to decide.
Or resolve.
Resolve?
You can resolve a problem. Yes.
If we don't have knowledge about the problem, there are many research in the internet, library, literature of psychology.
Yes.
But in Russia, don't out problem.
Yes.
Our family.
There is an expression in English. Go ahead, Sergei.
Which one?
I thought you wanted to say something, Galaida.
So, in my family, when was a conflict, this problem keep only in family and no discussion of our with other people. And our people. Very interesting. Well, do you have any ideas why do Americans go out?
I have before we discussed this, there's an expression in English. We don't air our dirty laundry, or we don't like to air our dirty laundry. Does anyone understand dirty laundry?
If I take off my t-shirt and go to a washing machine, so basically the washing machine, it's my exactly, yes.
Do you understand the expression at all?
Laundry. I think in Russian we have a similar expression too. Like копаться в грязном белье, да? Есть такое выражение. Все правильно, абсолютно, да, да. Просто есть в русском выражение, да, где есть вот это тоже laundry. Dirty laundry — это грязное белье, да?
Air is to put outside in some sense.
Сергей, слово.
I think every film everywhere don't discuss problem with our but neighborhood look this and not need to discuss this problem. Neighborhood what you do.
Neighbors know everything about us, right? They know everything. Yeah. Yes. So, but in many American films, you can see that the heroes of the film, they sometimes they go to a counselor or to a shrink, a psychologist, right? This kind of almost like a stereotype thing. An American, like usually middle class, goes to a psychiatrist and sits in a chair or lies on a couch and tells the psychiatrist about psychological problems, right? It often happens in American films, right?
Yes.
Okay. What about Russia? Does it often happen in Russia?
No, it didn't.
Sergey, when was the last time that you visited a psychiatrist?
It's not actual question.
Yes.
Relevant question.
Yes, and
Relevant.
yeah, and why do you think why do Americans do it, and why don't Russians do it?
I don't know how in America, but in Russia many friends with can discuss problem in баня. Баня.
You have to say баня. It's just a баня.
Наверное.
Maybe.
Maybe because this in Russia don't need ходить к этому.
To go.
To go to который психотерапевт.
Maybe. A shrink? Is it okay?
A shrink. Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's hilarious.
Очевидно, это как по-русски, наверное, какой-нибудь мозгоправ, да, там, мозговед. То есть это сленговое выражение для психотерапии. Мозгоправ. So, you mean that Russians don't need to go to a shrink because they have... Irina, what is your idea? What do you think? Why don't Russians go to consult a psychiatrist or a shrink?
It's very unusual for Russia.
Why? Why is it unusual? Why is it common for Americans and why is it unusual for Russians? We are people, we have the same problems, you see right in this video. I think it's a very common problem. In America, angry family, in Russia, angry family all the time, right? The same situation. Похожая ситуация, right? But Americans resolve it differently. Why?
Oh, this is tradition.
And this tradition is...
An American go to the counselor, but in Russia, not go counseling.
Yes. But, well, let's a little bit like speculate maybe, or like bring some philosophy. Like, what this tradition is based on?
We are very open with naked people, and we don't need to be open with strangers people.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Есть слово классное, вот это вот родные, да, его нет в английском языке, да, представляете? У Эби нет родных. У Эби нет родных. Native, да, это часто переводится, да, в словаре, там, типа, native это родной, да. Но на самом деле, вот правда, трудно его перевести, его родной. It's like,
the only way I could say would be we are very open with our own.
With our own. Вот Эби написал, with our own, да.
Maybe. But it has to be in context.
Да.
Yeah, that's a very hard word to translate. Родной.
Да. Потому что можно по-русски сказать, да он мне прямо родной человек, да? Ты мне прям как родной, да? And you can use this word родной, like, you are very close to me, you are like a part of my family, right?
You would have to say you're like a brother to me.
Yeah, like a brother.
Or like, yeah.
A sister, yeah. Yeah.
Прям как родной. Would be you're like a brother to me.
Okay, Svetlana's hypothesis is that Russians are not open to strangers. And they want to be open only with their own, with their close circle, with, friends, close friends.
Their immediate family. Yeah.
Immediate family, yeah.
Immediate family.
Это как бы вот непосредственная семья, да, то есть не седьмая вода на киселе, да, вот именно. Immediate family and close friends. Okay.
Also, we have friends, very old friends, very
Проверенные.
Friends.
Reliable, maybe, reliable.
Or
friends who for example, was Russian about I know that these people don't say about my problem now. People is very little, very
Okay.
Quality? Hmm?
Not many of people.
Oh, you're right, quantity. There are not many.
Not many.
Mhm.
Yes. It's a very small group of friends.
Mhm. Yes, again, there are two very important words, friends and trust. And I think it's a common already knowledge that the word friend in English is used more often than the word друг, right, in Russian.
Yes.
Well, usually Americans can call friends a bigger number of people.
Знакомые и друзья.
Да, знакомые, друзья, коллег. You can call your colleagues friends.
Yeah.
Students. Well, I think in Russia, I think it's also becoming a little bit more common because communication is more intensified today. You communicate not only personally but online. You have to write to many people to communicate with a lot of people, and maybe. Well, I feel that it's normal for me now to call my students друзья. I think that maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I wouldn't call my students друзья. But I don't use the word друзья like in this traditional Russian sense, but more like people with whom I work, with whom I collaborate, with whom I do something together, right? So you can call them. I can call already them друзья, which is friends.
And in English, if you want to talk about friends in the traditional Russian sense of друзья, you would say close friends or family friends are frequently friends who have known the family for a long period of time and have trust built up between the two families. Or you might say your best friend or one of my best friends. So you have to modify friend.
And how many best friends do you have?
No, not 15. Let's see. Maybe between 5 and 10. 5 to 10, probably.
Okay, Sergey, how many best friends do you have?
I?
Yes.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay. Lena, what about you? How many best friends do you have?
Very small. We friends work together me in institute in the university and friends at work.
Yeah. What about best friends? Лучшие, best friends. How many best friends do you have?
2.
2 best friends. Okay, and Sveta, how many best friends do you have?
I think best friends will be 1, 2.
Okay.
Very small circle round.
Yeah.
And bigger round friends.
Okay.
And biggest round is people who I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very common for us to have maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 best friends, like Sergey has. Yeah. For Americans, maybe it could be common to have 5 to 10, right? Like. I think also this intuitive technology also changes our idea of friends in Russia and in America. Like Facebook or ВКонтакте, Одноклассники, maybe in Одноклассники, you can also add them, добавить в друзья, add as a friend, add to friend. And look, when I look at the number of friends that I have on my page or my students have, some of my students have 500 friends. So yeah.
Now I'm curious. I'm looking.
Yeah, it does change our understanding of some words, right? Like friends. So it's like becomes more general concept. Right?
I have 686.
How many?
686.
Oh, 686 friends. In Facebook.
Friends.
Yeah, friends.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Many acquaintances.
Yeah, of course.
With some friends and a few good friends.
Eddie, why do Americans go to a psychiatrist or to a counselor? What do you think?
This is an interesting question for me because there are really two trends. The main trend is Americans going to see psychiatrists. And the minor trend, or the smaller generalization, or the smaller group of people, do not go to see psychiatrists. But maybe I should use pastor and psychiatrist, because if they don't go see a psychiatrist, it is very likely that they would go see a pastor. I think, or they would be more likely, they would, if they do need help, they would go see a pastor. So that, I think, is a major division. For me, it was interesting that there was a counselor and a pastor in the video. It almost seemed like overkill, or too much. It's usually one or the other. And maybe I'm wrong, but that seems to be the case to me. I think that in America, there is a sense, so maybe there are two big reasons. So one is to be objective. If I have a problem with my husband, Kyle, in my family, we also tend to resolve problems in the family. But if I have a problem with Kyle, I may first call my parents to ask for advice. I may talk to his parents. But I probably will not try to fix the problem just with Kyle, because we both are in the problem. We are both involved with the problem, with the issue. So we are both involved. And it is harder for us to look at the problem objectively. We look at it very subjectively because it concerns us. And so I will ask my parents for advice. And if my parents suggest it, or if they don't have advice and I still have the problem, then I would probably go speak to my pastor. Or if I were following the major trend, I might go speak to a psychologist or a counselor. And I might ask Kyle to come with me, so that we have an outside perspective, someone who is not directly affected by the outcome.
So that's the first reason, right?
Yes.
And let's ask, just a second, Andy. Let's ask the students. Do Russians want to be subjective? Do Russians want to stay subjective?
Russians want to be happy.
To be what?
Want to be happy.
Want to be happy.
In the family, I think don't be objective, subjective. It's better, good or bad.
Well, it depends. Objective, if you're objective, it means that your emotions are not involved. You look at an issue, you say, this has 2 good results and 1 bad result. If we take this decision, there are 3 bad results and no good results. So which one will we choose? It doesn't matter how I feel. We'll choose the one that has the best result. But if you are subjective, you say, here is option A, here is option B. Oh, I have so much emotion, I feel so strongly that it should be this. You don't look at what the result will be. You only make a decision based on your feeling. Oh, but I can't stand to agree with Kyle because I think he is wrong. I feel that this is not the right decision. I'm going to go with this option. Even though, if I look at the results, there's 3 bad results and no good results. But I feel that that should be the way things go. Does that make sense? Subjective versus objective.
Yeah.
So what about in my family? If we have a problem, we sit down on the table to don't write. But I love you and ask for you, and Nadine, I hope that you don't make that in the future.
It sounds like you're being objective. The reason Americans often ask for an outside opinion is because it can be difficult to be objective.
And twice people listen foreign people in our family problem. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Yes. Because they don't, the stranger does not have the emotional connection to one or the other decision. And so it can be difficult for us to be objective, and it might be easier for them. But sometimes we do try to be objective, and sometimes we can make decisions or resolve our problems objectively, just in the family. It depends on the issue.
Usually not need to be objectively.
You don't think it doesn't matter to be objective? Objective is not important?
In what situations?
In many situations with problems in family, usually not be objective because this problem решается.
Is resolved.
Resolved many kind to resolve this problem. Friends, parents, loneliness, discussion with family. So
but really, they are all interested parties. They, like, for example, my wife's mother, of course, she will support my wife, right? More than me.
No.
Yes, my mom will always support me, right? They're interested.
It depends on the family. It depends on the family.
Yeah, okay, well, they're all biased. Они все предубежденные, biased.
Yeah.
And a shrink or a pastor, well, a shrink is biased only by money, right? We pay him. Maybe he is interested in keeping this problem and discussing this long time to come to ministry. A pastor is biased by his, like, Eddie, how would you say, like, the crowd who comes to him.
Sure. I'm sorry, say it again.
Можно я на русском скажу? Я просто не знаю, как это по-английски сказать.
А потом
Да. Мирится не тот, кто виноват, а тот, кто в этом заинтересован.
Вот. Это теперь по-английски. Как это?
Да.
А милиция, в смысле, примиряется?
Ну да, примиряется.
Ну, есть такое слово reconcile. Reconcile, я пишу в чат. Reconcile.
Reconcile. Не тот.
Not.
Reconcile not. Не тот, а тот вот как.
What the?
Those.
Not those, да, those.
Those, maybe not those.
Reconcile not those who's what?
Guilty.
Reconcile not those who are guilty.
Those who
need this.
Who need this. Who has the interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is interested. Who need this. Not who are guilty, but who needs this reconciliation. Кому нужно примирение, да?
Да. Это уже философия.
Но это очень важно. I think it's important to understand this kind of, again, we have a cultural conflict. Elena wrote that it's too serious. It's not very funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a huge, it's an iconic comedy show in America. Да? То есть это культовый сериал. Это не просто какой-нибудь там, Эбби нашла какую-то там завалящую какую-то видео. Это шоу несколько лет. А теперь посмотрите, Воронины. Воронины, на самом деле, это же снято по мотивам.
People love scandal show too.
No,
Yeah.
we watch the show Воронины, and we smile.
Yeah, but Voronin is adapted to Russian reality, right?
Oh, but it's untypical situation.
Yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
And because that we think about that as funny.
Yeah.
Because it's not fact.
Yes.
This is also exaggerated. Exaggerated. That's a good word. Do you know exaggerated? Exaggerated. It's not. It's too much. It is a little. It took a little bit of reality and it made it this big.
Out of proportion. Out of proportion, right? Yeah.
Proportion, exactly.
Yeah. But the point is that the episode like this would be impossible in Russian Voronины because Russians don't go to a counselor and they don't go to a pastor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So Americans want to be objective when they solve their emotional conflict. Russians don't want. They want to stay subjective. The Russians don't look for... Look, in Russian language there is two words like правда и истина. Это не случайно. В английском языке нет двух слов, которые обозначают правду или истину. Да? У них только одно слово – truth. То есть правда и истина, это показывает веру русских в две правды. Да? Как бы, возможность существования двух как бы реальностей, что ли, или...
Многогранный мир. Это правда.
Кто-то может назвать его многогранным, кто-то шизофреничным,
Он
спокойным.
всегда объективный.
И не только эмоциональный.
Да. Okay, and maybe to finish our discussion. So the second reason why. So the one reason you want to be objective. What's the second reason?
Let me see if I can remember what it was. There were two that came to me that were fairly poignant, that were accurate. To get outside, to get objective input. Oh, I think also because our culture, and I don't always agree with this. I should tell Yeletz and Sergey and Svetlana, I should tell you that sometimes my family is not very typical, and so just as Svetlana is always saying, there are always exceptions. There are always exceptions, and I think part of the reason that sometimes I am an exception with Druzhya, for example, is that I have lived many different places, so I'm not always a good reflection of American culture, although I am very American. But the second important reason is that American society looks for specialists. We want a specialist for everything. Not everything, but most things. And so in medicine, or for elderly people, we think that a specialist, someone with training, can take better care of them than family. I don't always agree with this, but this is the thought. Or children who have a problem speaking, they think that there needs to be a specialist to help them, and it usually does help them. Or in conflict, in family problems, they think that there should be a specialist, someone who specializes in these sorts of arguments or problems to help. And so that's, I think, the other big reason. They think that people who have psychological or psychiatry training background can solve the problem better than the family. And I don't think this is always true, but sometimes it is, and that certainly pushes Americans to look to counselors or pastors or other people for help.
And again, what about Russia? How often, for example, Svetlana or Elena or Sergey, do you, especially I think women, they like it, like in Russia, like, to give advice about some health problems. Ну, тебе нужно вот эту примочку поставить. Do Russians give advice to each other, to their friends, how to, for example, to treat some, about some maybe minor, небольшие проблемы, minor health issues. About everything. The Russians like to give advice, да, давать советы. У нас даже Совет народных депутатов был, да, Верховный Совет. Совет. Russians like Советов, right?
Была страна Советов.
Целая страна Советов. Все друг друга советуют. Yes. I think
Usually, women to solve a problem and decide to find problem.
Yeah.
Me not you point.
Yeah. So those are the two reasons for Americans, I think. It's interesting how that is a big difference between the two societies, I think.
Okay. So, very interesting again. Every lesson we make discoveries, right? About us,
Yeah.
about Americans, right? Discoveries, открытия, да, делаем для себя.
And I wanted to say thank you to Yelena because the comments were excellent.
Важны ваши комментарии, блоги, потому что без вас мы вообще ничего не можем сказать. Пожалуйста, пишите. Чем больше вы пишете, тем более интересная дискуссия получается. Our next topic will be, I think, humor, right? That's what we were going to discuss.
So we can discuss humor next. I think that that's a natural progression.
All right. Мы планировали немножко другую, да, как бы тему, наверное, да, затрагивать. Но если мы возьмем сейчас юмор, мне кажется, будет логично, да?
Хорошо, да, по-моему, тоже.
So, and yeah, we will see things that funny for Russians and funny for Americans could be very different, right? Sometimes could be the same, but sometimes could be very different.
Yeah.
And maybe we will watch more of the comedy show. Maybe we will discuss some cartoons. Cartoons — это карикатуры, да? Да, то есть cartoon — это может быть и карикатура, и мультик, да?
Да.
Да. Ну, вот карикатуры можем обсудить. И, может быть, хорошо, если вы пошутите по-английски. Получится.
I think you don't understand our humor.
Нет, надо будет, ну, чтобы она так смеялась, надо будет так, чтобы пошутить, чтобы ей тоже было смешно, да. Okay. So, thank you again for your...
That's great to see everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see you on Friday. Right?
Yes, Friday.
What is homework?
And
I'll post it.
yeah, we'll post it.
Yes. On the blog.